Hi guys, I'm just really excited to potentially be back playing D&D, so I wanted to make a little background about the world and a little session zero just so we can get started and you can have a little base to start building your characters on. So first I'm going to start with the world. The world is called Delante, and there are three major countries. There's Alucia, Thorsis, and Trebarth. Um, and Alucia is where the main campaign is going to be. Uh, you don't really need to know much about Thorsis and Trebarth other than they exist. This southern portion is Thorsis, this northern portion is Trebarth. But everything from the Shamith archipelago all the way down here by the waste is Alucia. And I'm going to go through some of the main parts of this country. Okay, so here are some of the main geographical places. So the Shamith Archipelago, that's pretty self-explanatory. It's an archipelago. Dismore Tundra, exactly what it sounds like. There's the Tri-Kudori Mountains. It's this kind of triangle-shaped mountain range. Gulf of Glenus, it's this big gulf. The Great Aleutian Plains and the Mandraith Marsh, and then the Wastes. I'll explain specifically what they are later, but just trying to get you a little familiar with the map. Honestly, what is most important is the main cities and also their kind of states. So this whole area kind of over here is Vertana, and in Vertana, the main city is here. This whole area, this northern portion is Sinluth, and the main city's there. And then this whole kind of peninsula is Geishendor. Has a little weird accent on that, but it's pronounced Geishendor. There's Shamith Archipelago and Decimor Tundra also kind of states of their own, but we'll get to that. But we should start with Sinluth. That is where the main city is. One of the main cities. And Sinluth is also called the City of Skies. It's atop the Tri-Kudori mountain range at its peak at the center point of where the three kind of triangle meet. And it is most known for being obviously in the top of a mountain where the big city is, but more importantly, it's the home of magic, but more specifically, magic via education. So what I mean is there's a lot of magic schools and they really value learning magic versus it being given to you. So for example, wizardry and artificers are very well liked and very high status. It's kind of what everyone aspires to be. And because of that, it's got a very steampunk kind of vibe to it. They really value specifically artificers even more than wizardry because they can create different mechanics that have made life so much better. For example, there's a funicular train. If you don't know what that is, it's a train that goes up the mountainside that goes from the base all the way up to the top. There are pumps that pump water from, just all sorts of things. So it's a very kind of technologically advanced place. But with that, they look very heavily down on people who are kind of given magic. So, for example, sorcerers, they're not necessarily ostracized. They're more so looked at as Nepo babies. Kind of like, oh, they've never had to work hard for what they have. But, they wouldn't be necessarily viewed as, like, terrible people. They really dislike warlocks. Making a pact with a patron is viewed as, you were just so lazy. You completely went against the ethos of what we believe in. And some of the most common races here are humans, dwarfs, and dragonborns. You may see very rarely elves, half-elves, and tieflings. So that's Sinluth, one of the main cities. We'll go down to Geishendor next. The city proper is here. The whole region is kind of this whole thing. Geishendor is also called the City of Warriors in Steel. So this mountain range here, the Geishendor Mountains, are very rich with metals, and so there's decades old dwarven mining colonies that have taken that, and they've produced steel, they produce armor, they produce weapons, and so blacksmithing is a big thing here, even like leather smithing. It's a very kind of build with your hands type place, but they also very much value warriors, knights, people who fight with their hands. So this is where you'll find a lot of the martial classes. So yeah, that's Geishendor. Some of the most common races here are the humans, dwarves, like I said, orcs and half-orcs, and Goliaths. So yeah, next one, this last one, or not, last of the three major cities is Vertana, and it's the biggest state. It's this whole kind of left side, but the city proper is here on the shore. And Vertana is known as the city of faith and serenity, is what they call it. Very much known for it's a holy land, essentially. A city of temples, a city of worship. People born all over, even on Trebarth or Thorsis, will often pilgrimage over to Vertana. And of course, with these three, they have the things that they value the most. But, there's overlap. Like Geishendor, you could be born in Geishendor and be a cleric to a god and live your whole life in Geishendor. And there are temples there. And there's also, smaller schools of magic you could learn to be a wizard. It's not like so rigid that you can't. But generally, that's what they value the most, if that makes sense. And then by far the two other smaller ones are the Sharmith Archipelago and Decimor Tundra. The Sharmith Archipelago is also known as the Lawless Land. That is because this is often where, for example, if you're a warlock and you get shunned out of society, or if you have done numerous crimes and you're trying to escape the law, or if you're a pirating crew, if you're running a cult, if you're, whatever, excuse me, whatever edge of society, you would live here, because there's so many islands, even more than obviously you can see, that it's just impossible to have guards over everything, right? So there's not really a whole lot of villages and cities. The only ones that really exist here are here on this western end. That is because they are fishing towns. They export stuff to the rest of the country. And here, the most common races here are humans, gnomes, and goblins. So yeah, that is the Sharmith Archipelago. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this is very kind of tropical, warm. Yeah. So, and then next we got the Decimor Tundra, also known as the Land of the Fierce. That is because virtually no one lives here. It is very unheard of that someone that's not born here would move here. And the only people who are native to it are Dragonborns and Aarakocra, or Kokra, I forget how you say it. There's not a lot of growth here. All of these are all glaciers. These are the only lands, and they kind of border Sinluth and Vertana. And those are the only, I don't know if you can even call them cities, like villages. Well, obviously there's villages all over, but the only ones where you might find like humans, for example, are on these edges here. So yeah, that is kind of the main thing. A little bit about the Gulf of Glanis. Sorry. This is so I should preface this by saying each of these kind of states are essentially independent countries. They all have their own monarchy. They have their own ruling system. But they are centralized under what's called the Consitorium of Elutia. So I don't need to get into all of the lore, but essentially each place, even Decimor and Shamith have representatives on the governing body of the Consultorium, and they kind of, right now, it's very peaceful, actually. They generally get along, and the Gulf of Glenus actually reflects that, and that's because Glenus is Elvish for serenity and peace. So it's a shared land, not one state owns it, and there's a bunch of shipping routes, and people will. It's kind of central to these three major cities. So just a little world building there, just so if Maple, just so if you're thinking about your character, and while you're thinking about your character, obviously it's not super rigid, but for example, if you want to play like in Ace, I forgot to mention in Vertana, the main humans or races are gnomes, humans, halflings, and then Asimars, elves, and half elves are less common. So, for example, if you want to play an Asimar, you would probably be from Vertana. Or if you're wanting to play a fighter or barbarian, you're probably from Geishendor. Obviously, it's not that rigid, but I just wanted to give a little bit of background so you can start thinking about like, what race and class combination would probably lead me to be from, or if you want to break the kind of convention that the world has set, that could also be interesting. Awesome. Now that I have kind of that out of the way, I wanted to go into some session 0 stuff, just so we're all on the same page. So some questions for you to potentially just talk to me about or send me some answers. I want to know, what are your favorite parts of D&D and TTRPGs? Do you love roleplay? Do you love combat? Is combat your favorite? Do you love romance? Do you love political subterfuge? Do you love puzzles, riddles, dungeon crawling? Just kind of tell me what you like so I can cater this, the whole adventure, a little bit more towards what people in the group like to do. And now kind of going along with starting a campaign, I've put a lot of work into this, and I will continue to put a lot of work into this, and I just ask that you put work into your character, and specifically backstories. So the more backstory that you put in, and more work you put into your character, the more I can work with, and the more involved I can make your character in the world. Obviously, I can't make anyone do anything, so just know that if you choose not to put a lot of thought into it, it's going to be hard for me to really involve your character in the world and the story. And I just think it's more fun if you get that chance. And that also helps with world building and fleshing out different parts of the world. So I would really appreciate that. And if you're someone that struggles with that, there's a lot of resources online. Something you could do is ask someone else in the group if they want to do a combined backstory, and you can kind of bounce ideas off each other. There's a lot of ways to kind of get around that. And then along with that, start thinking about character goals and their end game. For example, if you're playing a loner rogue who sits in the corner and is all like a loner type, what do you want their character arc to be? Do you want them to Maple's playing with something. Do you want them to learn how to connect with people, learn to trust people again? Is there something in their backstory that made them traumatized and they really struggle with separation, anxiety stuff? Just that kind of stuff that you and I can build a character arc for. So yeah, just start thinking about those kinds of things. And going along with this is I want to talk about the campaign tone. So I personally I love high fantasy, and one of my favorites is I love Game of Thrones, and I guess you could say kind of realistic. I don't know if that's the right term I want to use, but that's the one that's coming to mind right now. So in the sense that, yes, people have sex, people drink and get drunk and have hangovers and, all that stuff. Obviously, there are lines, and I trust everyone I mean, we're all adults. I trust everyone not to only not cross that line, but not get near it. I want everyone to be comfortable, but also, you know, it is that kind of world. So, just so you're aware, and if you have any concerns about that, let me know. And I don't think we'll have any worries with this group. And along with this, I just want to make sure and just say out loud that I want to have open communication. So even if it's something that is making you uncomfortable in the game, if another player is making you uncomfortable, or even if there's a few DM decisions that I've made that you're like, I didn't love that. Just come talk to me. I want everyone to have fun. And I don't anticipate any of this to be an issue because you guys are all great, but I just want to make sure to voice that line of communication is open, because at the end of the day, this is a game and I want everyone to have fun and feel safe. And I want this to be something people look forward to and not dread. And with that, I hope we can play every other week roughly. I get that we're all busy, and if something comes up, I totally understand. I obviously would appreciate a sooner notice than later, but if I also get mental health stuff, like sometimes day of you're having panic attacks and you're just not ready to be around people. I get it. And if you ever have an issue that you don't want everyone to know about, come talk to me. And I am very accommodating. And I don't want this to be a stressful thing. This is a thing for fun, and I want to make sure it stays that way. And then alongside the communication thing, just remember that, again, this is a group storytelling activity, meaning that you are not the only person at the table. There are 4 people with you. And again, I don't anticipate this being a problem, but, just stray away from activities that may make other people not even uncomfortable, but, be wary of the main character energy, I guess. I mean, each character will have their moments, right? And in the story, they'll be the focus. But what I mean more so is, stuff like digging through someone else's bag and stealing stuff. Just be wary of each other. And I just wanted to voice that. And another thing, I will use milestone level ups. I just find that way easier, and XP is a mess. So that's how we'll do it. And I think we'll start at level 3. So, plan on making your character level 3. And then last thing, let's get into the first session, shall we? Just so you can know what what to plan for. So, this will start in, I have a little art here, the small city of Hartsfield. This isn't, I just tried to find non-AI generated art of a medieval farming town, because Hartsfield is a farming town. It is on the other side of the coast from Vertana, right here. It is up here to the left of, you can see where I'm hovering. It's up here. And it is known as the Crossroads of Alusha because it is a port where a lot of goods are brought in, and you can go up to Sinluth. You can boat across to Gaysendar, or you can walk down to Vertana. That's why it's called the Crossroads. It's fairly easy access to all 3 places, and a lot of the trade between places go through Hartsfield. But what Hartsfield is most known for is its luscious green luscious golden fields of wheat. So because it is on the shore, a lot of the soil is very nutritious, and so there's a lot of natural wildflowers, and the wheat grows, and green grasses. And what Hartsfield is known most for is for something called honey brew. It is a brew made of wheat and honey. There's a lot of beekeepers here, actually, that harvest honey. And a little over 100 years ago, this was created. It's a very sweet ale that is very delicious, very rich. People love it. And a tradition started every 3 months. There is a Lucia's Ale Open in Hartsfield. It's essentially like a farmer's market or festival that happens quarterly or every 3 months. Um, yeah, every 3 months. It's a competition, kind of like a chili competition, but for alcohol. People will come from all over, even every once in a while from other countries. I mean, from across, well, I can't remember names, from Thorsis and Trebarth to come here. It's a very well known tradition, and something fun that they do is they hold not only what for the best ale. So, for example, if someone might make like a strawberry ale or different ingredients, and whatever is voted as the best new ale is featured in the Bee and Bramble Inn, and they sell it there for 3 months until the next one. But they also do a worst slash funniest drink. So some people might get votes because it's the most disgusting concoction and it's hilarious to get drunk off it, or it's like a weird mix that actually works that you wouldn't think. Something that came to mind is like a pickle ale or something along those lines. So it's kind of a fun, both serious people who are connoisseurs of alcohol and ale and whiskey and whatever come and find the best ales on in the world, but they also come and have a fun time, and it's kind of a not so serious event. And so the campaign is going to start in Hartsfield. So start thinking of why your character might be there, or just keep it in mind that that's where it's going to start. So I'm very excited to be playing D&D again. If you can't tell, I've put a lot of work into this, and yeah, I hope this was helpful. Let me know. Please let me know if you have any questions about anything. I really want to talk with everyone about characters. If you have ideas, please bounce them off me. I really want this to be a collaborative thing. So yeah, I hope everyone has fun and that we can start this relatively soon.